Jason.
Hey, there we are.
Hey, man, what's up?
Just working on some dice trays.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo here with Board Game Gumbo Live. I got my buddy Jason Dinger, game designer extraordinaire from Morgan City. Say hello, Jason.
Hi. Just trying to get the tripod set up.
Okay, good. While you're doing that, I'm going to finish up what I was talking about. We're doing the Imperial Settlers expansions. Not really much interaction between the two because I think when you have the two expansions, they're really more focused on their production and their special abilities. So without the barbarians or the Romans to attack, it was kind of a strange game for me and Jack. But it gave us a chance to explore the mechanics for both. I don't think I would keep them both in the same factions. Imperial Settlers, Jason, I know you haven't tried it. It's that card decisions, the multi-use cards that you love, but it's an engine building type game that plays with different factions. So each faction is completely different, plays completely differently. So you got to learn your factions as we do that. But enough talk about that. I wanted to talk to you about what you've been playing. Anything good lately?
Yeah, I've actually got a stack right here to go through if you want me to pull out and show. It's actually been a wide variety. We have some old friends who are new to gaming here in town, and so we've been introducing them to different games, everything from quick 15-minute fillers to hour-plus long, heavier games, just giving them a wide variety and seeing what they like. So let's see.
Well, first up, before you go to the games, you know,
Yes.
a lot of people don't know you yet, so some of the viewers may not know you. So just give a quick rundown. Jason Dinger, Morgan City gamer. Go.
Yeah, my wife and I got into gaming about going on 3 years now ago. I mean, we played Monopoly and all that stuff before then, but modern games. Basically, our kids are older, and we realized that we were spending the weekends just sitting around doing nothing, reruns on the TV, playing on our phones, and we stayed busy during the week with activities together, but our weekends were, and so I heard about a new board game and looked into it and found this wide world of, different games I'd never heard of.
Sure.
And we started with Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne, Dominion, and have almost 200 games in the house now. And, that led to the literal dream that was the birth of, Captains of the Golf and everything from there. I mean, now I couldn't imagine my life without board games.
Sure.
It's
for our generation, it's replacing TV, don't you think, in some aspects?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. The renaissance that's happening, the explosion with board games these days. My wife can sit around. Our TV actually hasn't been turned on in about 6 months, honestly. And
Right.
we put music on, we grab a game, and we sit there and the activities we do during the week are pretty physical. We do martial arts, and we beat each other up a lot. And so we like to on our nights off to have something to work our brains and let our bodies rest.
Well, Tim Kaiser says you are awesome, by the way.
Well, Tim Kaiser is awesome. Tim Kaiser is a board game evangelist who introduced me to Ryan Courtney's Pipeline, which is an amazing game that's coming out next year from Capstone.
I'm on that Facebook group with him, so I've been watching you guys talk about it and play test and all that. Looks great.
Ryan is a game design machine. That guy's amazing. I mean, he designs games that have so much intricacy in the way things work together. It's just, and he's in grad school. Who has time to design that many great games while they're in grad school? It's ridiculous. That guy's amazing. He's my hero.
He posts every week, so I like following his little board game group there on Facebook. So that's been interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I don't know, Tim. Is Tim from Louisiana also? Or?
No, I believe Tim can correct me on this, but I think Tim is from Minnesota.
Okay.
Tim is from one of those states up north that I'm not smart enough to remember which one. Minnesota, Wisconsin. He's in that area.
Minnesota, it's the land of 10,000 lakes and one fish. I don't know if you knew that or not. I don't know if that'll get a rise out of Tim or not, but he's still watching. So I heard that joke from a guy from Wisconsin. So.
Minnesota, there it is. He's from Minnesota.
Yeah, blame the guy from Wisconsin that said that joke. So, yeah. So now you've designed your own game and signed by Spielworks. Is that right?
Yes. Captains of the Golf. The long story short is that February 16th, 2016, Valentine's Day, our kids were gone with their significant others, and so my wife Donna and I, we sat down, we played a few games. Actually, we had a meal together. Cleaned up. We played a few games and went to bed. Around midnight, I woke up from this vivid dream where I could see the game on the table. And we have our Shrimp Petroleum Festival here every year. coming up Labor Day weekend. And the dream was, originally the game was sort of patterned after, the Shrimp Children Festival.
Sure.
And I just started writing down notes, texting them to myself, and woke up the next morning, made some really ugly prototype cards, played it about a week later. It was broken. The math was off, but it was fun. And the heart of the game is it's engine building, multi-use cards. You're a shrimp boat captain, and you are adding cards. Every card has 4 uses. One is a license, which is needed to fish. That's the top. The left is crew members, which give you special abilities and are worth points at the end of the game. The right is boat upgrades, which give you special abilities, sure, storage, things like that, worth points in the game. And the middle is used in the fishing action. So you always have that decision of how am I going to use these cards to best make the use of what I have. So on Twitter, board games are a form of therapy for me. Without going into all the detail, it's just the time that Don and I get to spend, it's really therapeutic for me and very uplifting for my, and so I've made a lot of friends on Twitter and just playing their games, or reviewers that have introduced me to games, yourself, introduced me to different games. And so I would tweet about it and just interacted with them. And one day I had a tweet with our prototype of Captains of Golf, just Don and I playing just a little thing. And Ben Pinchback, very prolific designer.
I didn't get to meet him at Gen Con. He and Matt were there, and I never got to meet him.
You really missed out. Those are just great people. Matt.
We kept tweeting each other, and I never just got a chance to go. And it's so many people there,
When I showed up to Unpub and walked in, Ben gets out of his chair and he's a big guy, just gives me this massive bear hug, and love those guys, man. Those guys are they're great designers. They're great people, more sure, importantly. And so anyway, he saw the picture and he goes, "Hey, what's that?" Says, "Just this little thing I'm doing." He says, "Well, I designed Fleet. It's the only other game in the world about, fishing boats. I'd like to check this out." And we have Fleet. Fleet's great. And so I sent a prototype to him. He played it with his wife. He tweeted about it, kind of raved about it a bit, which was really humbling to see. And I went to bed just on cloud 9, wake up the next morning. The owner and president of Spielworks, one of my favorite companies in the world, private messages me and says, "Hey, do you have a copy I can check out?" And just floored me, So after I got my jaw off the ground, I replied and got together and sent it to him, not expecting anything, but just honored that he asked. And 2 months later, he played it, and 5 minutes after playing it, messages me and offers me a contract.
That's
and
awesome.
The rest is history. It's just the game was actually 9 months old when. I take that back. I'm sorry. The game was it was 9 months old when I sent it to him. The day it was signed, the game was just about a year and 2 weeks old. And, since then, Uli's been busy with a lot of stuff for the 2017 releases. So we've just been working on, as he said, he loved the game as it was when he got it, but we wanted to see if we could add a little polish, because Spielworks in-house artist Harold Leesky won't be ready to work on the art until later this year, early 2018.
Yeah, he's working on something else. They were talking about it at Gen Con. He's got a game design that's not his design. An artist thing that he's working on. Do you know what it is?
Sands of Time.
Maybe
Sands of Time
so.
is the next Spielworks release for 2000. Yeah, because they had Gintis and Sands of Time for this year, and so I'm pretty sure he's working on those. So as soon as his schedule's open, which when the January would be our worst case scenario, but if everything works out, if he gets done sooner, then maybe we get the ball rolling a little sooner and go from there. Where we stand now, I sent Uli my latest update about 2 weeks ago, and his schedule will slow down next month. So in September, he's going to play that and then get back to it with any other feedback he has. At this point, it's primarily just little math things if we want to tweak something here or there. But the core of the game is pretty much done.
All right, so that's Essen 2018. We're going to have to make a trip to Germany. There's no choice.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That would be awesome. But for the sake of my schedule and my 6 cats and having someone to take care of them, if the art gets done a little sooner and it can come out at Gen Con, I would not be upset. Making that trip was easier.
Yeah, that's true, Gen Con. But you've been to Germany before. That would be easy before. You were in the military, right?
I lived there. Yeah, I lived there for 3 years when I was in the military. It's just that now going to Germany, that's adding another 2 days to the travel. And like I said, my wife and I, we have a very busy schedule during the week with people that depend on us. So if that's going to make a 4-day weekend turn into a week trip, and it would just throw a monkey wrench into everything. Plus, like I said, we've got pets that finding someone to take care of. If I can make a 2-day trip to Gen Con in Indianapolis, that would be perfect.
Harlan Capel says, "Hey, you watching with me?" So, do you know Harlan, a buddy of yours?
Maybe? I know Harlan really well. Harlan owns a restaurant here in Morgan City that is amazing, the best. And I'm not joking when I say it's the best barbecue restaurant I've ever eaten at.
Oh, wow.
Eastgate Barbecue. And in the game, when you use
you
the
talking about like Louisiana barbecue? You talking about Jack Miller's type barbecue sauce, or like St. Louis, Kansas City?
Makes his own in-house barbecue sauces. Has several.
Onion onion barbecue, or the kind of the Texas, Kansas City, St. Louis type barbecue sauce? What are you talking about?
I'm not.
See, you're not from Evangeline Parish. I can tell already.
Yeah, no. But,
if I said Jack Miller's, you would say, "Oh, I know exactly what that is."
Oh no, I know Jack Miller's.
Okay,
no,
that's onion. That's onion-based barbecue sauce.
Okay, man, I mean his barbecue sauces, and he can say this better. I mean, he's got a honey.
This episode of Board Game Gumbo Live brought to you by Harlan Capel's Barbecue in Market. I'm joking, but go ahead.
But anyway, what I was saying was in the game, you're fishing shrimp, oyster, and crab. And you can use your galley to cook them, which, without going into detail, it's a really good ability if you can get it. And when you cook them, the chits that have the crab, the oyster, and the shrimp, you flip them over, and the shrimp becomes shrimp stew. The crab becomes crab cakes. And in honor of Harlan, and I am not joking, this is 100% from my heart, the oysters are grilled oysters because that's one
awesome.
Of his specialties.
That is awesome. But Doug Watson is saying, "Hey," too. You know Doug Watson?
Doug's one of my training partners at Louisiana Black Belt Academy. He does jiu-jitsu with me. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like a bunch of your friends.
Who helps us out when we get busted up. Doug.
Yeah, when you get busted lips, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you were going to tell me about. Oh yeah, Harlan says he loves it. So, well, apparently Jason loves your food, Harlan. So I drive through Morgan City all the time, as you know, for work. So I can't wait to try that out. That's
next time you come through, holler at me, and we're going over there.
That sounds good. All right, so you're going to show me one of your games that you played this week. What have you played recently?
I'm going to run through them quick. First one, Paris Connection from Queen Games. It's a it's what I call a filler.
Can you see that little button with the looks like a magic wand on there on your screen? On the bottom?
I don't see a magic wand, no.
Oh, okay. Maybe if you scroll up on your screen. Okay. Do you see one now? A little magic wand? Okay, never mind. So go ahead, because you're going to show backwards, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm backwards? Okay,
yeah.
Well, whatever Paris Connection reads backwards.
Yeah, I got it now.
Oh, you know what? Not a magic wand, but I do have something up here.
And then you should have a little thing.
That's not what I wanted. That's
no, not that. Yeah.
That's the empty boxes for stuff I got to take out tomorrow for all this stuff. Okay, so
yeah, the two technophobes are working on Facebook Live here. That's why I do Facebook Live, because it's pretty simple. But yeah, Paris Connection is a game I've always wanted to try. A lighter game that has a lot of strategic decisions, right?
Yeah, it's a stock market train game where you're building routes, but it's not on the level of an Age of Steam or a Steam or an 18XX.
Okay.
I can teach you in 2 minutes. The game.
So 18XX for dummies.
Way lower than that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Steam is 18XX for dummies or Age of Steam.
I like it.
But no, I love Paris Connection. We played it with some friends. It really only plays 3-player or more. Don and I have a variant we play that's not so great with 2 players, but we got to play it with a couple friends of ours, John and Leslie, last weekend. And just really great as you have your stocks are hidden, so nobody knows what you have behind you, and you are all working together to build the 6 different railroads. And when you're done, you reveal the railroads go up in value based on the cities they connect to, and then your stock portfolio is worth whatever shares you have on whatever railroads.
This is based on Paris Connection, is in Paris, France, right? So it's the rail system in Paris?
Okay. Yeah, it goes by SNCF also was the original game. It was a Winston game originally, and then Queen reprinted as Paris Connection.
SNCF, if I remember right, is the local commuter train in Paris. So that's if I remember right. Sense. Yeah.
I'm still trying to scroll, and I don't see a magic wand. I'm an IT guy, by the way, but I don't mess with iPhones except for and I've never done live stuff. So Next, another one that really only plays with 3 or more, and Donna have a.
That's
I can really
Zwillier.
Yeah, no, North American Railways.
Okay, now I get it. Railways. Okay.
Yeah, Spielworks.
Spielworks.
Hello,
Uli.
I only have just about every Spielworks game. Some are hard to get, but I have just about every Spielworks game.
Does Spielworks distribute in America, or do they have
yes.
strategic partners for that?
Fun Again is who handles all of his pre-orders.
Okay.
Typically, Spielworks games sell out pretty quick. I think Solaris Mission sold out in 4 weeks.
And, that's one I wanted to try. That's by
Andreas Ondahl, Michael Keller.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've got it. Next time we see each other, I'll bring it.
Solaris Mission. Okay.
This is another train game, though it's all cards on a table. Another stock market game. Kind of a step up from Paris Connection. There's no board. You are buying shares, and then with the shares that are bought, the money goes into the companies, and then whoever has the most shares, president of the company, they use that to then buy connections for the city. It's not complicated. It's a lighter medium, I guess I'd say. Good stuff. Plays also really fast, maybe 45 minutes.
BJ from Morgan and Gumbo here, talking to my buddy Jason Dinger, designer of the upcoming game Captains of the Gulf, coming out in 2018. Hopefully, crossing our fingers if everything goes right with the artwork, with Spielworks from Morgan City. Jason, you got any other games? If not, I'm going to show you one real quick. Yeah, go ahead. What you got?
Again, backwards. First Train to Nuremberg. Martin Wallace, designer of Steam.
I don't know that game at all.
This is a very innovative train game. It's not like any train game I've ever played. Martin Wallace is a favorite, designer of mine. Brass, Steam.
Have you played Via Nebula yet by him? That's the one that I would like to try.
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. But this one, I'm not even going to try to explain it. It's not heavy. It's just a solid midweight. But the mechanisms and how it works with laying your train routes is not like any train game I've ever played. Not even gonna try to explain it. Next time we meet, we'll play it.
Sure.
And it blew me away. Next up, and this is the new Capstone release, backwards. The Climbers. This is an amazing game. We had one of the original copies we gave to our daughter when she left to go to grad school a couple weeks ago, and a friend was at Gen Con and muled this back for me.
Hey, pull that open. I'd like to see some of the pieces. I've seen the pictures that you posted on the internet, but I'd like to see some of the pictures.
Right. Well,
the pieces.
I will say this: Capstone's version is much better produced. The blocks are all actually square.
Okay, so this is not their version.
This is Capstone's version.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yes, and these are really nice and solid and square. The colors are easier to read. The first version we had, the original printing, was mostly square, but as the mountain got higher, it would start to wobble because some of them were off-cut at weird angles. Not on purpose, just a bad production. But there's 3 different sizes of bricks, half cubes, cubes, and double cubes, and you are building them up so that it's not a meeple, I don't know what you call it, your pawn.
Climber?
Yeah, your climber. They can jump up on anything that they can see. And so on your turn, you can move. There's a little more of the rules, but basically you're allowed to move one block and flip it. And based on whatever color you are, you can jump on any block that is the right height, that is your color, or is the neutral gray. And basically you're going to get to a point where people can't jump higher anymore. And when you go all the way around the table and no one's been able to go up, the game's over, and whoever is the highest wins. If 2 players are both there, whoever got there first wins. There's a little more to it. There's 2 different ladders that are one-time used. There's blocking stones. It's not really a dexterity game. It's a thinky filler, like Edward from Heavy Cardboard likes to say. I think he actually coined that phrase. It's a game that's lighter but not light. And it plays in a short time, but you can really dig into it, and it's got some meat to it. Let's see.
So Dave Dugas just texted me. He said he's very, very interested in that one. So we got to set that one up for him. Dave from our Gumbo group, right?
Yeah. Next time we go to Lafayette, I'll bring it.
The Climbers was a big talk at Gen Con, not only because of the production value that Capstone had, but apparently it's from a new line that they're going to do, the Simply
Complex.
Simply Complex. So yes. What looks like simple games, but still giving you that big, meaty depth that Capstone is known for with all of their other big games.
And like I said, it plays in maybe 20 or 30 minutes. Like I said, it's a great filler game. Speaking of filler games, this one really surprised me. I apologize, it's backwards. Again, I'm not going to keep saying that. Hive. I actually bought this.
The Secret Ball, big fans of Hive, so I've never tried it. I'm anxious to hear what you think
It's a two-player only, which is great for Donna and I. And we don't really play too many
Which edition is that?
Don't make me lie. It's whatever Game Surplus was selling. I was trying to get the $90 on Game Surplus to get the
free shipping.
To get the free shipping, and for one of the I was mainly ordering one of the other games I'm about to show you. Another Capstone actually, and so I'd heard some good stuff about it. So Don and I got it, and we checked it out, and we've played it I think 10 times this week.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It's I'm going to say it's gamer's chess. It's an abstract, but man, there's so much to it. And I played chess a lot, back in the day.
Sure.
I say that I had a 6-month period where I played chess a lot, and basically chess is very dry. It's an amazing game. Obviously, it has all the staying power, but it's not something I care to go back and play. I played this 10 times this week, and I want to play it again tonight.
Nice.
So each of the insects has a certain type of move they do, but it's all very simple, not complex, but it is complex trying to figure out how to do it to surround the other's queen bee to win. Really good game. I'll bring it next time we play. Now getting into the Capstone segment of what we've played this week. Lignum, the reprint. We have the original.
Yes.
I love this game enough.
Oh, yeah.
Two things. Love Capstone and Clay so much, and love Lignum so much that we got the reprint. This game is amazing. This is planning the board game. It's just this actually
what? It's what?
Big part planning the board game.
Planting or planning?
Planning, as in I have to have a plan and see it through.
Sure.
A big part of the feeling I was trying to get out of Captains of the Golf with where you have that starting hand of 8 cards, and then so you have your initial plan of how you're going to make the best out of what you have, and then as you're using cards and cards are coming back in your hand and adjusting the plan, that feeling I was trying to replicate came from this. I'm not going to put my game on par with this. Alexander Hamer, huge fan of Alexander. Actually, Alexander Hamer was one of my first outside playtesters. He was one of my first blind playtesters, and if I don't go to Essen, he's going to be really mad. He's on me about once a month going, hey, you are coming to Essen, right? And but this game is just amazing, and the expansion that's in it is really cool. I'll say this: Capstone's production is just amazing. Is
there a difference between that and the original version you had? You've noticed a big difference?
Production quality?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing! Yes.
Okay.
The cards are solid quality. The cards in the first one are flimsy. There are things that should have been tiles in the first one, but they were, I won't say that. There were cards in the first one, and there are tiles now, and they're much better. Hey, Emily and Jeffrey, those are 2 of my students who are watching with their mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So everything, not only is everything thick punch board in here, but it punched really easy. There, a lot of times with thicker punch boards, really, you have problems with tears and stuff, and none of that. Capstone just knocked it out of the park. Can't say enough good about this. Lignum is a top 5 game for me. It is one of my wife's top 3. I don't want to lie, between this and Dominant Species are her top 1 and 2, but I don't want to say which one is which.
Do you have a game? I don't know if Emily and Jeffrey are gamers, but do you have a game that they would enjoy if they were, just starting out?
That I have. My kids are 22 and 24, so
Hive?
I don't have any games.
Hive would be a good choice, right?
Possibly. Yeah. So Emily and Jeffrey are a little younger. So next up, this is what I was ordering from Capstone. Hospital Connect.
Oh, Hospital Connect. Okay, yeah.
It's the third in the Cole trilogy.
The first that we saw. That's the first that we see, though, right?
From Capstone, yes. Capstone is printing them in reverse order.
In reverse order, right?
Yes, which I have the second one, the Ruhr, which was originally Rushafart with 3 Fs, and Clay. No, we got to, we're going to come up with something that Americans can pronounce,
right.
I guess.
Ruhr.
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but yeah, that was one a lot of people had trouble pronouncing. But we got this in the expansion. I haven't played the expansion yet. This is an amazing game. The action selection and how it works, it's really, really cool. You're limited on what you can take, and you try to maximize it without leaving anything for your opponents. Again, not going to go into too much detail. This is another one that I will say is a solid medium. It's there's nothing heavy about it, and that's not a knock on the game. This is the perfect medium game. It plays in less than an hour. You get a really good feel from it without burning your brain.
Less than an hour for 2 people?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Don and I played pretty quick, but I want to say we played it in about 45 to 50 minutes. But I think it plays. I don't want to lie, but I want to say it plays in. It says 90 minutes, but I think that's the average.
What about Lignum? Is Lignum a longer game?
We played Lignum in under an hour too, but we've played Lignum 15, 16 times.
Yeah.
So we kind of. It's basically 2 players. We know what we're doing, and we know what we're doing against each other. So we play it pretty quick.
So what do you say if somebody says that Jason's brought 4 dry, themeless Euros? What's your answer to that? Because I don't think so. All these have different themes.
Oh, those are absolutely not dry, themeless Euros. Yeah. Those are not. What you're doing in Hospital Connect, as far as how you're choosing the actions and what the costs are and all that. It makes a lot of sense. It's a very thematic game and how it works. Lignum also, just the difference in Lignum because you're playing through 2 years, 4 seasons, and the differences in how spring, summer, and fall and winter are. It's very, very thematic in how it plays out. Anybody who says it's dry has just never played it.
Never played it. Yeah. Well, this is BJ from Board Game Gumbo Live talking to Jason Dinger, designer of the upcoming game Captains of the Golf. You could hit Jason Dinger at Jason Dinger on Twitter. Is that right? At Jason Dinger?
There's no E in it's no E in Dinger. Jason Dingr because the other one was taken. Yeah, somebody else had taken it.
All right. So and you can always hit us at Board Game Gumbo anytime you want to hit us up on Twitter. So you got another game for us? What you got, Jason?
Yeah, sorry about that. Let me cut you off. This is the last one besides my own games that we've been playing, and too big of a box going to come on myself.
Lisboa. Yeah, I can recognize that artwork anywhere.
Lisboa.
That's Ian O'Toole, right?
Ian O'Toole, yes.
Yep.
Ian is a master of blending illustration and graphic design. He does both of them so well. I'm impressed
with everything I've seen from Ian O'Toole. Ian O'Toole's got the artwork, I think, on that new one, Agra, that you and I were talking about before the show a couple weeks ago. Oh, no, you're right. It's Michael Menzel.
Yeah, Michael Menzel.
No, Nemo's War. That's Ian O'Toole's other thing. Yeah, Nemo's War. I just mixed it up there for a second. Nemo's
War is Hollandspiel, I think. Is that the publisher?
I think so. I think it is Hollandspiel. It's a German publisher. But, that Ian O'Toole, I mean, just big, beautiful graphics that pop out, look like things you might see at the Vatican. You know what I mean? Really, really nice.
Right. Well,
like what I see.
And this game is very thematic, the way it works out. But this is how big of a fan of Ian that I am. Vinhos has long been my favorite Vital Lacerda game. And we have the original that was, put out by What's Your Game that has Mario Iannelli's art, another favorite of mine, does all the art for What's Your Game. And when Eagle Griffin reprinted it, Ian O'Toole did the art, and I'm really, really on the fence. I really want to get that new version, even though I'm keeping my old version, just for Ian's art.
So which one is the one that you're holding right now?
I'm talking about Vinhos. This is Lisboa.
Oh, Vinhos. I'm sorry. Yeah, Vinhos. Yeah,
Vinhos Vinhos for a long time was my favorite Vital Lacerda game, hands down. We have all of his games, and love them all. But Vinhos was my favorite until I played Lisboa, and now I'm not sure. I'm not going to say Lisboa is my favorite, but this game is just amazing. It's the hotness right now for a very good reason. It's just ridiculously good. I don't know if you saw the wig that I play it in.
No, I haven't seen that. No.
Yeah. In the game, You see right there the marquee, the wig. Back then in Portugal, because it's the rebuilding of Lisboa in Portugal.
That's right.
After the hurricane, or excuse me, not the hurricane, the earthquake, the tsunami, and the fires that destroyed it. And the king thought it was just this, biblical apocalypse. And he takes off and he tells the marquis and the builder, fix my city. And if you do, and the world's not over, I'll come back.
Right.
And so the story is you are, working with them to rebuild the city. But you're people with money in Portugal, and around the world, you showed it by having the nicest wigs. And just think like a British judge,
right?
With the long curly wig. And so I went on Amazon when we ordered when I found that I kickstarted it, and when I found it was coming in, I went on Amazon, ordered a wig, had it delivered. I actually put off playing the game until the wig got here, and played it in the wig, and it was miserable. It was so hot, it was so stuffy.
Man,
I got a headache, but I commit. When I say I'm going to do something, I commit, and I played the game with the wig on.
Do you still play it with the wig on? That's the question. Or is once enough?
No, once was enough.
Once was enough.
Yeah, I actually legit got a headache from that. So other than that, the only thing we've been playing is a prototype of my newest game, The Acadians, Life of the Early Cajun Settlers, which I guess is the prequel to Captains of the Gulf. And
yeah, that's exactly right.
Don't have a lot to show right now as far as the prototype. This is a game that.
So this is game 1 of the Cajun trilogy.
Well, this is game 2, whereas Captains of the Gulf would be game 1.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is funny. I don't know if did you watch or listen to the interview that Uli did with Heavy Cardboard about a week ago?
No, I missed that one. No, he did one?
It's
on
on
podcast
YouTube.
Or video?
It's a video.
It's
on YouTube.
I'm
and
behind
I didn't
on
know
the YouTube.
about it. What's that?
I said I'm behind on the YouTube stuff with Heavy Cardboard. So.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. And the other day I said, oh, hey, look. And I put it on. And this is so odd for me to say. Uli compared Captains of the Gulf. He said he sees it could be the next Colin Colony.
Oh.
Which was Thomas Spitzer's first game that launched the Cole trilogy.
Yeah, sure.
And he talked about how, he could tell when he played the game, he could feel how important the theme of shrimp boat fishing was to me. And just hearing the publisher talk about it like that and having him compare me, my game, and my journey to Thomas Spitzer and the Cole trilogy, the major series games, that was just really weird to hear in a good way. Very ugly prototype. This is a game, unlike Captains of the Gulf, where Captains of the Gulf has a large board.
Right.
This game does not have a large board. It's I'm gonna hook you up as soon as it's ready for outside playtesters. Tim's asking for our opinion.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Game's only a week old, so what it is, you have 3 types of land. Right now they're blank because I want to, as early in the prototype stage, you're erasing, you're writing over things, you're making changes. So I just made them simple like this. And
is that cardstock?
Yeah, it's just cardstock there.
Yeah.
You have forest, pastures, and wetlands. And I don't know how well you can tell, but on the table, the green and the blue are quite easy to tell the difference. And each one claiming them is worth different values at the end of the game, but each one gives you different types of resources, everything from crawfish to rice to peppers, cows, clay, wood, moss, muskrat hides, alligator skins, and salt. You're using all these things in the game. There are 5 colors of cube in the game, and these are not the correct cards because the game has changed since the first playtest. These cards just had simple one-time actions or benefits. Now the cards are going to be like a card-driven game. Think like a war game, where it has action points or an event. And if the card is neutral or your color, you can play it for the event or the points you decide. If it is not your color or a neutral, you have to play for the action points. That leads to a lot of decisions because some cards are going to have really great events. For the other person, not great action points. So you take a lesser action to prevent me from getting that really good event. So what happens is the cards are dealt out. Each player starts with 2, and then they're dealt out in a 6-card rondelle. and each card gets 4 cubes. And I do have some other greens ordered for the sake of colorblind people that deal with colorblind issues. So I've got some lime greens that are coming to replace these. So white is moss or salt. Brown is cows or wood. Red is peppers or crawfish. Green is rice or alligators, because rice, when it's planted, is green.
It's green, yeah. You and I both
And
know that.
orange is clay or muskrat hides. And what happens is this 6-card rondelle, as it's laid out, you're choosing not just the card, but you're choosing the 4 cubes that are on it, potentially more cubes, because if a player, you move on the rondelle to take a card, and the last card you pass over, that's the card you take, and you get the cubes on it. Any card you pass over, you've got to pay 1 cube from your hand. Players start with a couple cubes. You've got to play 1 cube from your hand to that card. Makes that card you left more valuable to other people. And also adds to the decision space of which card I'm going to take. So on your turn, well, first of all, let me back up. On your player board, I don't know if you ever played Mercator.
No, I haven't played it yet.
It's a not well-known, amazing game.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Rosenberg. And doesn't play anything like this, but this is where I got the idea for the mechanic of multi-use cubes. And what happens is on your board, you're going to have spaces for your storage, and you decide when you get this green cube, is this rice or is this gator skin? And you put it there, and once it's there, you can't change it. You decide, is this moss or is this salt? And each one of the cubes has something that's used during the game that's needed. For instance, you can only store so many cubes on your board. At the end of your turn, anything excess you have to discard, but you can use wood to build extra storage. The only thing is, cows are the most valuable thing in the game. So I'm giving up the most valuable thing in the game to get the wood I need to build storage to store more of.
One of those delicious decisions. Yeah, right. You got to make a tough decision here.
The game plays in 3 years, and at the end of every year, you've got to feed. In order for your food to stay good, 1 salt covers 2 food. Any food that you don't have salt for at the end of your turn spoils, you lose it. Whereas using clay with moss, you can build some really good things, improved housing and camps and things like that. Clay stoves, which allow you to then cook cows. So different things like that. The rice is something that you can plant to get a lot more of, which covers a lot of feeding, but gators are pretty valuable, so you're giving that up. Crawfish feeds 2 where rice feeds 1. But peppers are used in the culture actions, which I'm going to update these cards. These are the culture cards: dance, festivals, music, and food. And basically, when you do an action with the card of exploring, claiming the land, harvesting one of the resources, trapping the muskrats or the gators, fishing the crawfish, sowing the rice, harvesting the wood, doing any of that stuff, it cost action points. It was a hard life. They worked. Or the events, and the events that you use that do it will lower your morale. You have a morale track, and it'll lower your morale without meaning to. It's in there because it's thematic. Without meaning to, actually have a built-in mechanic to stop a runaway leader who gets a lot of great cubes and a lot of great cards, because a lot of your points come from claiming the land and getting the resource cubes that are on them that are valuable, but doing that brings your morale down. And what early Cajuns did to raise their morale, 2 things that are very important to them was their faith and their culture. And so you can go take a church action, which allows you to trade cubes, and it boosts your morale pretty solidly to bring it back up. They're resting on the 7th day, and with the culture cards, you're spending the action points to get them, but it's not, they don't lower the morale. Each culture card has a different cost, and where it's at in the, for lack of a better word, conveyor belt. I don't know if you've played Yokohama. Buying the earlier cards costs less, as those cards are cards later in the display cost more. As you buy up the early cards, they shift to the left. The cards get cheaper. So
Century does that also with that sliding mechanic. Yep.
So and the way this works is having more of the same type is having different types during the game boost your morale better. So you want to get different types during the game because it boosts your morale, lets you go do the other things better.
But more makes it cheaper.
But getting well at the end of the game, if I have more dance cards, they're worth more points.
Oh, so set collection that ratchets
correct.
up. Yeah,
one dance
I got it.
card is 1, 2 dance cards is 3, 3 dance cards is 6. So it's 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21.
So another tough decision. Do I keep getting that set collection for the victory points, or do I want to make it easier? Yeah.
Do I want to boost the morale?
Boost the morale.
And one last thing. There's actually a lot more to the game. I'm trying to give you the quick rundown version. In my games, there's not much of a quick rundown version.
Yeah.
There's no long story short in the games I designed. It's just
not yet.
So with the cubes at the end of the game, they're going to score, which is why storage is important. And the way they score, like I said, each cube of the in-game scoring type, which is salt, cows, peppers, gators, and hides, unique sets of 3 or higher score.
Okay.
So if you in the game with
unique sets of 3, okay.
Yeah, 2 cows, say 3 peppers, 1 hide, 2 salt, 2 gators, you have to then put those together in unique sets so that they can score. So I've got, sets of 3 score 3, sets of 4. And this is really simplifying. I'm going with the 1, 3, 6, 10 right now for everything. Going to adjust that, just keeping it simple. Like I said, the game's only a week old. Sets of 3 score 3, sets of 4 score 6, sets of 5 score 10. And then any set that has cows or salt score an extra 5. Any set that has alligators or hides score an extra 2. And so there's a lot of decisions in what you're doing during the game to advance and get the stuff to try to score at the end of the game, but you have to feed. If you don't feed, that lowers your morale and you get negative tokens, basically that are worth a lot more points at the end of the game than if you would have just fed your people. So like I said, it's only a week old. It's got a long way to go. And the one thing that I'm the type of person that I won't sleep when I'm working on a game. It just grabs me, and I will wake up 2 hours before my alarm goes off, and I've dreamt about this game probably 3 or 4 nights in the past 5 days, and I keep my notebook by my bed. And I wake up and I just start scribbling notes, and Don and I will play 3 rounds to see how things work, and scrap this part and add that part, and nerf this part, and go from there. But I'm really excited about it. This is the first game since Captains that started to come together like this. I've designed a bunch of other little games here and there, and they get to a point where they're just not working, or I'm trying to force a square peg in a round hole. Everything's just flowing. Even when something's not working, I go to bed aggravated, wake up the next morning, I've got an idea and it fixes it. So I'm really excited with where this one's going, but I'm not setting a timeline. And again, like with Captains of the Gulf, my goal is not to publish this game. My goal is to make something for Donna and I to enjoy that honors our heritage. If it ever gets published, that's awesome. But I've been talking to Derek Dooley from Lanyap Games.
Yeah, I want to talk about him in a little while because we have something in common with him on that.
He and I talk almost daily, just about every day. And sorry, my phone's busting because battery's at 20%. And him being from Louisiana, and he's just a really good guy to bounce ideas off of, and he knows how my brain works as a designer.
Right.
So he'll let me just rant, and he'll drop, maybe a hesitation or okay, I like that part, or what about this, and just kind of let me think about it and run with it, and then we'll go from there. The only problem is he's got this really cool government job that we can't talk about. And so, because that his work schedule is really weird, and it's not CIA, but it's kind of like that.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what it is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so I pick with him about it, but because of that, his schedule is weird. He'll work nights, he'll work days, and so we'll talk for 20 minutes, and we'll just, like 2 Tasmanian devils going back and forth, and then we won't talk for like 4 hours, and then we'll talk for like an hour. So.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo live here visiting with Jason Dinger at Jason Dinger without the E on the end, talking about some of the game designs he had. And you said that it's been about a week since you've had this game. It seems like you're pretty far for only a week, but I know that on Twitter you and I have been exchanging some messages and talking. This game is kind of morphed from a previous game where you got really excited about this theme and maybe not so excited about the way the mechanics were melding in the other one, right?
Yeah, the rondel of card and cubes originally came to me. I was working on a game called La Guerra, which is the war. It's about the Spanish Civil War, which I really want to do a game about one day. It's amazing, and it's just fascinates me. And I came up with this mechanic, and Don and I played it, and we loved the mechanic, and it was working. But I'm not a war game designer, and I was wanting to try to bring some economic aspects into the gameplay and some resource management, and that's totally doable in a game like this. But the way the game was going, it was trying to rip it all apart was just killing it for me. Yeah. And I was frustrated, and I said, but I don't want to toss this mechanic. The mechanic I was more tied to than anything. And so I thought about all these other game themes I had in my notebook that
yeah, one time you were working on a train game for around right after the no, that would have been the 30s, so it would have been the Spanish Civil War.
No, it was after the Spanish Civil War.
After the Spanish Civil War. Yeah.
The train game. I've been wanting to do a game about the Spanish Civil War, and I was working on a train game that was you're rebuilding the rail lines which got destroyed.
Farrah Carroll, 1939.
Yes, and but again with that one, I was trying to force mechanics that didn't fit, and instead of letting the game be what it needed to be, and I like I said, I just came up with this mechanic, which is actually inspired by Forense. Forense doesn't have this mechanic, but it has a card display that shifts as you're taking cards, and building pieces are being put on it, and you pay a piece to each card that you skip over. And I love rondels, and I don't just love rondels. I love taking rondels and thinking of them in a different way.
Right.
And try to do something different with it. And so I came up with this, and we played it, and the mechanic works really well in all of our play tests of La Guerra. As a war game, La Guerra was working. I'm not a war gamer. And so like I said, I went to bed frustrated and woke up with the idea of doing this game of the early Cajuns and as they settled. And because for me, I can't design by mechanic. I have to design thematically. It has to make sense. And so when you're going around this rondel and picking up resource cubes, you're exploring the land. That's the settlers as they go out and explore. And when that light bulb went off, I haven't stopped. My notebook is it's filling up with ideas that get scratched out and morph into something else and all that.
Well, that's the perfect segue to what. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. But I was just saying the way it all works out. The early Cajuns, just like Cajuns these days, are known for working very hard, but then worshiping and partying very hard.
That's
so the food, right? As far as the party's concerned, it's the food and the dance and the music and the festivals. And then because why they were kicked out of Canada in the first place to come down here was because the British Crown wanted to make them renounce, their religious beliefs, and they didn't want to, so the British kicked them out and burned their homes and burned the farms, and they came down here, and Spain had owned Louisiana at the time and said, have at it, and good night, Emily and Jeffrey. Their bedtime, I guess, getting called.
Oh, yeah.
And
saying good night,
so yeah,
but
right. Everything works out thematically. That's what I'm really excited about. If things work thematically, I'm nonstop on a game. I can't help it. It's just how my brain works.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to our last discussion that you and I wanted to talk about. Why theme is so important to you. You said it is important and how you've tried to develop it, but why is it important in games? A lot of game designers from the school that you are, the German Euro designs, it seems like they look at a mechanic first and, okay, how can I graft those on? Stefan Feld, the 4 games I've played of his, I've loved them all. Well, not Trajan yet, but I'm willing to try it again. But each one of those really feel like mechanics with just kind of a pace on theme. You're different from that. Why?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I'm an artist, whether I'm working in wood or drawing or painting
or music,
playing bass guitar.
right?
So for me, game design is an art. And actually, I think Richard Garfield is quoted as saying that, a guy who, if I'm not mistaken, is a literal math genius.
Yeah, he is. That's right.
Has graduate degrees in math. And he said, board game design is art first, math second. And so for me, when I'm designing a game with Captains of the Gulf, I saw it on the table before I had the mechanics worked out. I knew that we had to have the fuel to get out there and to have the proper licenses, and that deckhands helped us fish more. That just made sense to me. And I just had to find a way to make that work in the game. And for whatever reason, the way my mind works, when I do have a theme that I'm passionate about, the mechanics just come together and they work well. I've played with people. We played at HeavyCon, and people, they make the joke. They said, I'm looking for Forrest Gump as I'm playing this game because I feel like I'm on the shrimp boat with him, because for a lot of people, that's all they know. People,
right.
In Colorado and New York, they don't know about this industry, but they know that movie. And so I've heard that quote from a few different people. And I can't tell you why that is. I mean, if I look at my shelf and look at the games that I love the most, they are thematic games, even if they are the Euro that some people may assume is dry because it's a Euro. And not every Euro is thematic. I understand that, but there are some really good, very thematic games, and those are the ones Donna and I love. I mean, don't get me wrong, we love 18xx games, and that's about as far away from thematic as you can get, and
right.
A role-playing game is the most thematic game, and we played that when I was in the Army. We don't really have any desire to play it now. So theme means a lot to me, but it's not everything. Mechanics are important, and like I said, I wish I could tell you why Feld. I'm a big fan of Feld, but I agree with you there. His games are a lot of mechanics and theme fields pasted on, but amazing games. As for why, like I said, I can't say. It's just, I guess because going back to, I'm an artist, and so I'm creating a piece of art. It's a functional piece of art in that you can play it as a game. And I'm talking about the mechanics. I'm not talking about the art that I do for the game. The game itself is a piece of art to me. And that's why I've never had a bad play test. If I play test and something doesn't go right, that's exciting for me. My motto is fail faster. I want to see what is wrong, where I can fix it. It's that sketch where I started putting lines down. I realized that eyeball's too big. It doesn't line up with the other one. I erase and adjust. And that's what playtesting and prototyping is for me. Show you some. This is, I make dice trays.
I love your dice trays, man. I love watching them start as just scraps of wood that you have in your back of your workshop. And then you end up with these beautiful pieces, man.
And actually, there's no dice trays like mine in the world. 1/4 inch thick, padded all the way around the walls.
Beautiful.
And the bottom, the way I attach the bottom with glue, it's only glued in certain spaces, so there's air pockets. So when you roll it, you can drop a die. You don't have to shake up and roll.
No, you just drop it.
It's going to roll and bounce. So you're going to have good dice action, good randomness. But also, these trays, if you can see the patterns around the outside, I've got a whole bunch of scrap. I want to build a board game table for us to play on. What we play on is these like plastic tables from Lowe's, like you see in a game store.
Right.
And so I want to build a nice board game table with inset, place to play, but I don't have any room in my shop. So I've got to get rid of all my scrap. So I'm cutting up my scrap and I'm using it to make these mosaic patterns.
That's awesome.
I just randomly glue. And so what I'm saying is why I think it's the same as this. I've never seen, I didn't learn how to make dice trays. I looked at a picture and said, okay, I think you make it like this.
Right.
And my first dice trays were small and square, and people commented, they're too small and they're square.
Right.
And so I started making these big ones and making them octagonal and figuring out.
They're gorgeous.
And all that. And so again, the mosaic was just, I didn't have the heart to throw all this stuff away, all these scraps. I wanted to do something with it. I grew up poor, and that means that I don't like to toss stuff.
Reuse,
my wife will pick on me because we'll have like a 5-pack of toothpaste in the closet, and I'm squeezing the last little bit out of this poor tube of toothpaste, just trying to make it last. Same thing here, And so what I'm saying is, why theme? it's just the way my brain works. I see stuff and I want to create a work of art from it. And that's, the theme is what inspires that, not the mechanics. The mechanics to me, okay, I'll say this. The theme is the image in my head of this painting of, the horizon with a shrimp boat out, in the Gulf. The mechanics are the paintbrush and the canvas and the paint that I create that with. I get that. If that makes sense, in my brain, that's why I designed theme first, because I've been drawing and painting since I was 4. I've been designing games for about 2 years now. It's doing what I know how to do,
BJ from Board Game Gumbo here with Gumbo Live with my buddy Jason Dinger, talking board game designs and theme. Jason, put you on the spot. We got a few minutes left. What game out there do you think melds theme with mechanics? What game in your collection, if someone said, oh, these are just dry Euros, you're pushing cubes, what game would you say, no, you got to play this game? This is mechanics and theme, perfect meld.
Oh, man.
Come on, putting you on the spot, man.
There's so many. Wow. I'm looking around. Why'd you have to do this to me?
It's all part of the live show, man.
Really, if I had to cheat, I'd say Lisboa. I would say Lisboa. You know what? No, scratch that. Agricola. And I don't care what anybody says.
Agricola?
Phones complaining it's at 10%, giving you a fair warning. Agricola, which is my all-time number 1. It's never been topped. It's farming in the Middle Ages in Europe,
right.
After the plague. And it feels like that when you're playing the game. Because the game is not about building your farm up. It's about not having your family starve.
It's true,
as you build your farm up. And it feels like that when you play. So, no, it's Agricola. It's Agricola.
Okay, interesting choice. All right, we got a couple of minutes left. I do want to thank you for being on Gumbo Live. If people want to get in touch with you, at Jason Dinger without the E, right?
Yeah,
on Twitter?
JASONDINGR. Yes, no E. That was already taken. So
yeah. So quick question: if right now, if you could play a game with anyone, what game would it be? In other words, this is not your number 1 game, Agricola. It's not your favorite game of the moment. It's that envie that we call it. So that's why this question is the envie question. What game right now? It doesn't even have to be in your collection. What game right now do you have the envie to play it? And who would you play it with?
Crokinole with my wife.
Really? Okay.
Without even thinking about it, yes.
Why is that?
Well, I've played with a lot of great people. There's nobody where, even though she smokes me in most games more often than not, there's nobody I'd rather play with.
I absolutely not have expected that one.
We only play 12 hours of gaming a week, she and I. Crokinole is a heavy dexterity game, and it's one we just love. There's no setup. We lay the board out. Actually, that game, I'm going to give him props. That game was a gift from Derek Dooley that I did not expect.
Off of that May Day? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the Kickstarter.
An expensive game.
No.
Yeah, Crokinole is not an expensive game. He surprised me with that one.
That was a nice version that came out. I almost kicked that one because it looked really good. I've just never played Crokinole. I watched Steven Bonacore and Ignacy Chevicek from Portal Games go at it after each other at Dice Tower Con, and I kept saying, "Oh my!" My wife and I are watching it, going, it was not a game we were interested in before, and we're watching it, going, "Holy cow! You could take this one to your family reunions, your Christmas parties, your just backyard barbecue. You're drinking some root beer, and it looks like the perfect game, man. Just keep talking going. Trash. Yeah,
my phone's gonna die in a second, so
yeah,
give
sure.
me 2 seconds.
Yeah, so Crokinole, watching Steven and Ignacy, they talk trash the entire time, Jason, before the game started for weeks on their Board Games Insider podcast. And then we were fortunate enough to be there at the Board Games Insider podcast meetup and watch those two guys who, by the way, Jason, are masters at that game. These two guys are really good at Crokinole. People that were watching that play Crokinole were going, wow, these two guys are really good. And it was an epic match to watch. So yeah, I didn't know what they were doing. I'll be honest. I never could figure out all the rules.
They have world championship matches, tournaments of Crokinole. It's ridiculous. We love Crokinole because it's a heavy thinky game that plays in about 15 minutes. It's there's zero setup. You lay the board out, you take the color of disc that you have, and whoever's first player shoots.
That's it?
Try to get the center. and you go from there. Next time we go to Lafayette, it's another one I'll bring for you to play.
Yeah, bring that. I really would like to try it. I really feel bad that I missed out on that Kickstarter. I should have jumped on that, man.
It's on Kickstarter again, and I think has about 2 weeks left.
Wait, right now?
Yes, they're kickstarting another edition for 2018.
I missed that. I got to double check that because my wife, I think she'd like it.
I put it on Facebook last night.
Oh,
and
I
the
missed
other
that.
thing about this Kickstarter, it's a great board. You know, wonderful. It's really good production, but it's only $99. Crokinole normally goes for about $300.
Yeah, I know.
They're handmade, custom made. You know.
Well, I am running out of voice. I have the Gen Con voice, and then I got hit with the Gen Con crud. So we're going to have to cut it short. But, man, Jason, I really appreciate you coming on here. I wanted to talk some shop with you. You and I talk, and those conversations can last a while. And I said, man, why don't we just get it on Board Game Gumbo Live? Because then we can have a little bit of time without being distracted from being on the road or any one of those other times when you and I are usually calling each other when we're about to get somewhere or something like that. So this time we have. Hopefully I didn't take you away from some of your game time. Good luck with all the game designs. Keep me posted on the Acadians because I think I absolutely love the theme. Can't believe no one's done that before yet. I haven't found a game out there that's covered that topic. So I'm glad you're covering the theme, and I know you're going to do it with respect because that's the most important thing about our Cajun culture is honoring the Cajun culture, not disparaging it. But yeah, so thank you for being on there. Again, we do the Board Game Gumbo Live whenever I'm still in beta testing, so I'm still trying to find out the right times. You can always hit us, any of the crew to Gumbo at Board Game Gumbo on Twitter or at Facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo or send me an email at BoardGameGumbo@gmail. If somebody wants to contact you, Jason, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Twitter is probably where I'm most active as far as gaming's concerned. And like I said, that's no spaces at Jason Dinger, but Dingr, no E in the last name on Twitter. And like I said, as far as board gaming, that's where I'm most active. Facebook is primarily for friends and family, my students and their parents and things like that.
Well, that sounds good. Look, I appreciate you being on the show. Until next time, laissez le bon temps rouler. And Jason, see you around the game table, man.
See you, brother. Have a good one.
Man.
Thanks.
Check you later. Bye-bye. And that's Jason Dinger. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a great time talking with him. Laissez le bon temps rouler. Until I see you next time on Board Game Gumbo Live, thank you for participating.